Hello and welcome back to Podcasting is Praxis for another episode of Cultural Committee. I'm David and my pronouns are he and him.
I'm James and my pronouns are they and them 47.
I'm Jamie, my pronouns are he and him.
I'm Rob, my pronouns are he and him.
And I'm Alistair, my pronouns are also he and him.
We watched more films.
Did we?
Against
I'm not convinced
advice.
we actually
We
did.
keep doing this to ourselves.
Yeah.
I don't know. I found Jamie's YouTube videos very instructional.
Jamie's YouTube videos were more of a fucking film than what we watched.
Yeah, at least they had a sense of comedic timing in them, at least.
Yeah, and narrative structure, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And you came away having learned something and remembering things, unlike for these films.
Yeah,
I think it's the hallmark of good cinema if you just forget it immediately after like the credits roll. You know what I mean? Like if Will Smith can show your film to people to make them forget they saw Tommy Lee Jones fucking a predator or whatever, then that's like you've achieved your goal as a director, I think.
A mental diuretic, love it.
Oh, yeah. We watched the Hitman films because Jamie
Yes,
loves
we
Hitman,
did.
the video game, but does not love the films.
That's
like,
right.
Like your aunt who doesn't really understand that you're into this kind of thing. They've bought you the DVDs for that video game you're really into.
Well, it definitely lives up to like the proud tradition of all movies made of video games are fucking shit.
Yep.
Mario Brothers would like a word.
Yeah.
Like many in the video game film genre, it is a series of films or a duo of films, potentially a series if they do make the third film that they're thinking of making.
They're
Are
not.
they?
They're apparently
They're not.
No, they're
Apparently.
apparently making a TV show, and they've got the Wazzicks that did John Wick involved. So you know that's going to be even worse than these two films because it'll be
Jesus
longer.
Christ.
Not necessarily. That could, like...
No, it couldn't.
Oh, we'll see.
Because
I mean,
they're gonna make it like the guys from John Wick have been given a TV show about Hitman. It's gonna be like fucking Hitman running around with two guns, just shooting like 400 guys, and like, what's the fucking point?
Yeah,
you could make that film about literally anything. Why would you choose to make it about the stealth game where you murder people without being spotted?
Yeah, that's kind of the point I was getting to, was that these films do not care for the actual, dare I say the phrase, source material that these films are based on.
I don't know about that. I think they do care about the source material. It's just that they weren't very good at playing it.
No, the problem is they fucking like took the story from the Hitman games, which is just honestly fucking dog
Terrible.
shit.
Dog shit, yeah. It's on par with Assassin's Creed, like, big plot, and that's really fucking shite, like...
I don't know, man. I'd like to go back in time and show them all Jamie's walkthrough videos before they get to the point where they're making this film and see if it massively impacts on what we end up with. If nothing else, we might get the flamingo suit, and that could be worth the trouble.
If either of these films had a fucking suitcase that he throws at like an unfortunate goon, and it just tracks them slowly down a hallway, then he would have been a cinematic masterpiece. And yet they fail to consider that such a small addition could make such a huge difference.
Don't
the
worry
problem.
about it though, because in the new series coming up, he'll be able to pay for that upgrade with the blues.
Yeah. That's the thing, though. It's like the Hitman games are like good when they're it's like the problem you have with like the Warcraft movie.
Mm-hmm.
The Warcraft games are okay. They're quite good, like, gameplay wise, but the story is fucking dog shit. So, like, how are you going to make a film about that? Like, all of the writing in, like, say, World of Warcraft is dreadful, except when they're being funny. Do you know what I mean? There's occasionally bits that are just sort of like daft, but no one wants to make, like, you know what I mean? No one wants to spend like however many hundreds of millions of dollars they spent on, like, fucking the Warcraft movie that, like, you know, the one they called The Beginning, quite optimistically.
Yeah.
No one wants to spend that much money on like The Princess Bride. They'd rather try and like ape Lord of the Rings, and it's just a fuck, you're onto a loser there. And it's the same with this bullshit. It's like the Hitman games are great when you're playing them as a comedy, But if you try and take the source material as like a serious fucking thing, it just reads like someone had a stroke while they were communing with Tom Clancy's spirit, and it's just not good. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I think the chief crime that stuck out to me from these films is that they take themselves so fucking seriously.
yeah.
It's
Like
just
they
it's
both,
horrible.
the only thing they actually did, like they both do it as well to hint towards the fucking like lighter side of the games, is they include the rubber duck, which is like a recurring motif in the game series.
They include a rubber duck, and there's one bit in the first film where he crashes into a room, and there's kids playing the Hitman game on the television.
That is a straight up fucking 2000s ass PlayStation video game advert. It's perfect. That is the only bit of that film that I liked, because I thought, well, at least there's a different fucking medium being displayed here. Something about this film has changed thematically.
There were 4 things in these films that I thought actually tied directly to the games, other than the rubber duck, because I didn't know that was a thing. And that was, he changes his outfit once in the first film, so he's dressed up like someone who works at a train station. He hides someone's body in a box for basically no reason. And in the second film, he changes his outfit to match people that work in the building that he's in twice. And that's it.
Oh, no, he changes it twice in the first one as well, because at one point he dresses up like a Russian ninja turtle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Shout out to them, by the way. Right, so for the first film, I don't know why they did this, but whoever did the costume designers thought they should rip off the video game designs, and so like the Russian special forces are all dressed like the shitty models in the low rent PS1 graphics, like Hitman.
Yeah, they all look
game.
They look like Escape from a Laser Quest.
No, they look like they look like the soldier from the intro cinematic to Fallout Las Vegas with like the gas mask.
Oh
over their
yeah,
eyes.
with the stupid fucking gas masks at the end. Yeah, I mean, like the great thing about these two films was when everyone on the pod was watching them, they were all just yelling at me about how shit the one with Raylan Givens was, and it was just like, oh no, it gets worse, buckle up. And then everyone just got people who were it's fair to say large mad at the first film were just fucking incandescent with fury at the second one.
Yeah.
Whose idea was this fucking thing anyway?
It was Jamie's.
Yeah, but it was Dr. Knife Guns, and he's no longer with us, so we have to honour his memory by watching these fucking films.
What one quick costume change later, and Jamie was thrown off at the sewers. So dedicated is he to Hitman's strategy, he brings it to his Twitter game.
Oh god.
Though I will say it genuinely from the bottom of my heart. So the two films are called Hitman. And then, because that didn't land, they're like, okay, let's make it more complicated. So the reboot is Hitman Codename 47.
Agent 47.
Agent 47, whatever. Again, in one
honestly,
ear out the
these
other.
movies pass through you like violent diarrhea.
No,
it
they're
doesn't
bad.
stick.
Yeah.
I'd
say I'd seen them both before, and I couldn't really remember much about the Timothy Olyphant one. But literally, all I could remember about the Rupert Friend one was that there was a helipad at the end. That was literally the only thing I could remember, was that it ended on a helipad. I couldn't remember what happened on the helipad, whether there was even a helicopter there, but I literally knew that the final scenes were on a helipad. That was the only thing I remembered.
Some of the best films we've ever reviewed have ended on a helipad, so who's to say?
The second one, Hitman Codename 47, is genuinely
Agent 47.
the worst. Oh, whatever.
Let them continue to disrespect it, please.
Hitman 2, the forgettable semicolon.
It is genuinely the worst film I've ever seen. Hands down.
Oh, no, it's not. I mean, to each their own, but I don't think
I don't think it's even the worst film you've watched for this podcast, to be fair.
No, I honestly think it is, genuinely. And I will justify that opinion when we come to talk about it later in this episode.
Yeah.
So
Hitman Agent 47 was the Hitman Blood Money of these movies.
What? Blood Money was good, though.
No, they're all shit.
No.
They're all shit.
I think
fucking down in tools to start the beefs now.
I think you're thinking of what the fuck's it called? Absolution, which is the gritty grindhouse one where you distract the cops by throwing the dead stripper off a balcony and stuff like that.
Fuck's sake! It's been years since I've played any of them other than the new one, and even that I didn't get on with terribly well.
Blood Money is the one before Absolution that everyone thought, this is for me, Blood Money was the first time a Hitman game was actually good.
Yes.
And then but you can't go back and play it now because holy shit, is it bad?
Yes, it was very
Vindicated.
good at its time.
It has not aged well. I tried to replay it before the new trilogy started, and I couldn't get through the fucking tutorial with its incredible fucking illustration of American gangsters.
Yeah.
Because you just know they just found some Danish people around their office and just got them to can you do a black voice? You know what I mean? It's fucking dire.
It's real gold star you tried kind of stuff.
Oh no.
But I will say this, right? Okay, so for to just kind of set the scene, there was the original Hitman games and a couple of weird niche spin-offs for portable devices, right? And they were all right, but the last one of that set was called Hitman Blood Money, which was actually good. And then mysteriously they kind of stopped doing them for a while. And then they did a reboot called Hitman Absolution and a couple of games off the back of that, which were dire.
Just
as
Absolution,
Jamie.
I think.
Oh no, they did one sequel to it, didn't they?
No, because Absolution essentially killed it until the reboot in 2016, 2015.
Okay.
But then 2016, yeah.
But then finally they decided to do a complete reboot and just did a Hitman game, and that led to a trilogy, and they're very good. They're extremely good games. Jamie, little known fact, I think this only come up a couple of times on the pod, Jamie does speedruns of it. And if you ever want to learn how to play Hitman...
I mean, you say that, but about 3 of the... I've got fucking dozens of videos of me playing Hitman, and maybe 3 of them are actually speedruns. The rest are just me fucking around.
Yeah, well, I didn't say you're any good at it, Jamie. I just said you do speedruns.
It's
So just go to Jamie's YouTube channel and find out.
I have occasionally set a world record that lasted for as long as it took a person younger than me to get on their computer and beat it. But mostly it's just stupid shit. Can I fucking run around with a loud gun dressed as a bird and still complete the level without being spotted and stuff like that, you know? Which if the films ever did anything like that, would be miles better, in my opinion.
Yeah, if what they really need is for a part of the films to be set in a fairground, so he's dressed up in a giant bunny suit or something, and then he has to leave the fairground without changing his suit, without being spotted. Perfect scenario for a Hitman film. These, also, however, should we dive into this?
I mean, what I'm gonna say about the fairground thing there is the closest. You would say the closest that fucking films have come to the Hitman sort of ethos is Roger Moore's Bond films. Do you know what I mean? Where he's trying to be a suave spy, but he's also ridiculous, and they lean into the sort of he's running around dressed as a clown or whatever while he's trying to stop fucking Russians from blowing up the planet or some shit. That's more in the sort of Hitman thing. But now that I've brought it up, there is actually the blueprint for Hitman, the entire Hitman video game series actually occurs in The Living Daylights, because there's the bit in that where they've the guy's defected and he's at an MI6 safe house somewhere in the English countryside, and the KGB guy strangles the fucking milkman with a pair of headphones so that he can steal his disguise, and then breaks in, and then gets caught hiding a body in a freezer and has to shoot people and throw novelty explosives everywhere to get out in perfect no notes.
If these movies had taken anything like that as an approach, they'd have been tolerable. But instead what we got was the first film, which was solely redeemed by getting to see Timothy Oliphant try to hide in his own skin away from the material he's been given to work with. And then the second film... I got nothing. That second film has got no redeeming features whatsoever.
Ciarán Hinds is only in it for a mercifully short amount of time, thus blemishing his career the least.
Yeah.
I hope Ciarán Hinds got paid big for that fucking accent he puts up in that fucking movie though, because holy Christ, that's all over the shop.
These two films are accent city. It's just great.
And the weird voice dubs as well in several sections.
Oh, the ADR was so fucking bad.
Yeah, it's we didn't like that take, should we redo it now? We'll fix it in post, just over and over and over again. Anyway,
right. Shall we? We've already started. We've talked for 20 minutes. Shall we just go?
Someone talk us through the film that fucking Raylan Givens couldn't save. Although actually that's not true, because he was never Raylan Givens at this point. This is pre-Justified.
Yeah,
this is he has not yet found the hat, which is why he's incredibly bald. So. Key to picture through this film, Let me just give you an image. It's got Raylan Givens, Timothy Olyphant, except he's proper bald, like actual seriously like bald.
Yeah, not
cap
rip-off
head.
bald.
Yeah, this will
he's-
come up later. This is foreshadowing.
Yes. This is for Chekhov's bald man. Anyway, he is wearing a suit which is inexplicably ill-fitted to him. Like, it's slightly too large for him. And I don't know why the set dressers were like, oh yeah, that looks fine. Because what it ends up doing is you've got a slightly baby man running around doing, like, Hitman stuff.
It's not just the suit, though. It's, like, the shape of his head, because he's, like, bald.
So
it's just so disjointed. It makes him look like a little child, yeah.
The suit makes him look like he's in Talking Heads.
It does.
He really looks like he's wearing like his dad's Hitman uniform to school for like, you know, what does your dad do on school day?
It's genuinely I mean, like there's several bits where they shoot him and you're like you're seeing him from the side and like his collar rises up like ridiculously far up his neck and his shoulders are like not properly contoured. He just
Welcome to James's suit
weird.
Analysis Corner.
It's just I just don't understand.
That's actually done on purpose. It's so that it looks like he has a bigger hitbox than he actually does.
Anyway, okay, so this entire film has a framing narrative, which is how you know it's going to be good, and it has a flashback within the framing narrative, which is how you know it's going to be even better. So, inside a heavily guarded facility, a group of young boys are given tattoos of barcodes on the back of their shaved heads. Which, by the way, right, in the Hitman games, he's got a barcode on the back of his head. And they solely did that to give him something distinctive. Because otherwise he's meant to, like, blend in and, you know, just a bit of character design. It makes no fucking sense in, like, a real-world context whatsoever. But by God, they kept it for the films. Anyway, these boys are then trained in weapons, demolitions, unarmed combat, stamina, and strength to become globally operating professionally trained hitmen. And
By the
during
way-
current... Sorry.
By the way, this whole intro scene where they're doing like the flashback of what you know the process of becoming the hitman.
Yeah, the Murder Academy.
Is footage ripped from a TV series that I think it's the producers or whatever had the rights to. So it's not even original footage for the most part for this intro.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That's astonishing. Wow. Okay. And during the current day, an Interpol agent named Mike Whittier, with he's played by Dougray Scott, who has the worst Scottish accent.
Yeah,
Accent
Dave's
safari.
favourite character right there.
I think I've ever heard.
Fucking Kanji
like-
Club guy's uncle, thanks.
They basically said, listen, can you say there's been a murder? And he's like, I suppose I can. And they're like, right, you're hired. It's really terribly bad. Anyway, so this Interpol agent arrives home and is met at gunpoint by Agent 47. And the two talk about 47's life as a professional hitman, raised and trained by a mysterious paramilitary group simply known as the Organization.
And
that's the framing narrative.
Fucking
It's like
forgot that this was like a flashback narrative as well.
Yeah, so like the two ends of the film are like bookmarks of them talking in this guy's study while, you know, Agent 47 has him at gunpoint.
Yeah, like another good thing about these two films is they're extremely good at sapping away any sense of like tension or like
There's
risk.
There's a bit where Agent 47 shoots the Interpol agent, right? And he falls down as though he's just like been killed. And it's just like you're sitting there going, well, obviously he's not dead. Like,
Yeah,
it's very clearly he's probably wearing a vest. Oh, look, he's wearing a vest. Okay. And it's like, why do this to yourself? Why do this? Anyway, so the rest of the film, bear in mind, this isn't woven throughout. It's just a beginning and end. You could have cut them off and it'd have been okay.
I was just about to say, it obviously takes more than one bullet to stop Dougray Scott, but I've just realised there's that bit in Justified where he says, like, oh, 3 first names, you know that guy's a winner.
Oh man, this film would have been massively improved by Raylan Givens being the one doing all this assassin bullshit.
I found Timothy Olyphant's performance the like least worst thing about it. Like it was fun to just see him having fun with it, I guess.
I'm not sure if he was
ill-fitting suit notwithstanding.
I honestly feel like he was dying of embarrassment throughout. Was my take on it.
I thought it was distracting as fuck. Because at no point did I think Hitman had that accent.
Yeah, no, there was an element of that as well.
Anyway, So 3 months prior, the dude from Santa Clara Diet is completing a hit on a Nigerian warlord named who cares. And he does it by basically force feeding a captured soldier plastic explosives and using him as a human bomb to kill the dude. So like they pick up this guy, he can't speak for like what's going on, and then Hitman detonates the bomb, you know, killing them all in one go, just to kind of set up that this isn't stone cold ice, you know, ice in his veins operative.
I think
this is, by the way, also set like in an imaginary African country that is roughly similar to like Black Hawk Down or something. Like it's just like a dusty plain where people just machete each other for fun, because that's what African people
everyone
do.
was wielding very sharp machetes, weren't they?
Every single cap badge that was worn was a Soviet one that they'd taken the red off as well, by the way.
Another film where they wish the Soviet Union was still real.
It was definitely war-torn Central African Republic TM. Was the setting for it, essentially.
North Angola.
Yeah, so this is to introduce him as like a give no fucks assassin sort of thing. And he's contacted by his handler, Diana Burnwood, and told that his next target is the Russian president, Mikhail Belikov, right? And that he's to kill him publicly instead of privately. So, okay, cool, we're going to Russia. And Agent 47 completes his mission really easily. He gets up on a tower like 4 kilometers away, they say it is.
Yeah.
And he shoots one of the guy's agents to get a clear shot. And then when the bodyguard goes down and they all stand around going, huh, he then fires another bullet and takes out the Russian president. Boom. Done. End of movie. That's it. We can all go home now.
So he's just shot the target, and he leaves his fucking gun to explode on the top of the fucking tower for some inscrutable reason.
Yeah, he disassembles
decides
his
to
gun.
leave evidence.
Yeah, he disassembles his gun, puts it back in the case, and leaves. And then the case blows up, drawing attention to the sniper's nest where he just shot from. It's like, what? Like, why not? What? Do I not carry it out
with you? Bring the gun with you, dude.
Yeah,
or
I mean,
leave it there. Like
this film definitely, like, you'd watch it and you'd be forgiven for thinking this is the most we let a 12-year-old child with a very bad idea of what's cool direct a movie film that's ever been made until you see the next one.
Yeah, Jamie isn't lying. So he goes to talk to his handler, and he's mystified when he's told the hit was a failure. And he's like, bullshit, I shot that guy straight through his nasal cavity into his brain, he's gone. But no, apparently it was a failure. He survived the attack on his life, and apparently there's a witness to the assassination who he has to intercept and kill. And he's like, no one saw me. What? All right, fine.
No one saw me blow up my own briefcase. Don't be absurd.
Yeah, right.
Maybe if I hadn't done that, then there definitely wouldn't have been a witness. Well.
So he goes to take out the target on a busy high street, and when he sees her, he does not shoot her because she's obviously the female lead, and that's the start of the film essentially.
Yeah, I mean, it's like she doesn't recognize him, and that's why he doesn't shoot her, because it's like she's not a witness if she looks right at him and doesn't recognize him. But also, I mean, like, someone at some point, I feel, during the production of that film, must have been fired for raising their hand and going like, oh, but hold on, he's going to shoot her in front of like 20 people. Are they not all them witnesses as well?
Like, don't think about it. Instead, he narrowly avoids an assassination attempt by another bald agent. And get ready, there's a lot of bald agents in this film.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's part of the fucking terrible backstory from the game, is that they were making clones for, like, they were using the best DNA in the world to make, like, the perfect fucking human, which is why it's a giant white guy.
In an ill-fitting suit.
Well, actually, okay, if I remember the game slightly, the thing was that actually there was a flaw in the process and it made them albino. I believe was originally part of the script for the first games, and then they mysteriously just kind of lost that part later on, so it's like, alright, okay. Anyway, that's also why he's hairless, by the way, in the original games. Anyway, now I'll just adjust my spectacles and, sort my retainer.
I'm firing up the Hitman lore wiki right now.
Yeah. just ignore the edited by an Arkenbury teeth mod on there and we'll be fine. Anyway.
Why were you banned for posting about circumcision so much?
No, that was me on the Silent Hill wiki, I'll have you know. Anyway. So anyway, so he gets back in contact with his employers, and he finds that his employers have basically sold him out, and they've sent his location identity to the FSB. But
No, he gets warned by the Diana voice on the phone.
I'm about to get to that, Rob.
Oh,
he gets called by his handler, Diana, who tips him off and says that basically Belikov himself, that is the Russian president, is the one who ordered the hit, which makes no sense. So we then get an interminable escape the hotel scene.
I mean, you say it makes no sense, but I feel like if David had the means to hire an international hitman, he might be the target himself.
It's true.
I'm just picturing now Hitman dressing up as Jones, David's cat, in order to get to him, and rather enjoying that one.
Well done, 47.
The last act of David as he's dying at his desk. Hit that button.
One target down.
Okay, would anyone like to describe the action scene of the escape from the hotel that ends with him plunging into the river?
Boring.
Yeah, it's fucking shit.
It's like the core concept of the Hitman games is that essentially like you're a stealthy dude who does stealthy things to like really quietly take somebody out, so it's either looks like an accident and then like you make your escape without being spotted. This is the exact opposite of that. It's like, what if we just did more explosions, because obviously the 5-year-olds who are going to see this in cinema have the attention span of, you know, a small rabbit, so clearly we need to like do bang bang now, and it's fucking terrible.
Yeah, they like set up his escape route. Like he puts these strange little marble things on the carpet outside.
Yeah, as if no one's going to notice them. It's wild, like.
So that if you step on them, it transmits a signal so that he knows, there's someone outside my door.
I think it just literally just makes a noise, doesn't it?
Yeah, it just makes a crunchy noise.
Yeah, he hears the crunching. It's basically the bit from like the 90s, like the first Mission Impossible film where Tom Cruise like crushes up a light bulb and sprinkles it outside the door of the safe house. But like obviously, you know, it's that, but like to make it not look like that, they've like gone, oh, what if he had these like weird crunchy marbles in his pocket at all times rather than just he unscrews a light bulb?
Yeah, and also he affixes like what I can only describe as a prop from the Star Wars expanded universe to the door that explodes when it's opened.
Yeah, sci-fi claymore.
It's so fucking, like, I mean, lots of fucking films do this sort of shit where it's like, oh, we've got to come up with a cool thing that the fucking protagonist does when he's in a hotel room to make sure, like fucking enemies don't burst through the door. And it's always the stupidest shit imaginable. Like, I mean, I'm just going to put, like, a fucking limpet mine on the back of the door so that if the cleaner ignores the do not disturb sign, we all go up in flames.
He also ties an abseiling rope to the balcony of his rooms, and then basically when they show up at his door to take him out, he hears the crunch, he runs for the balcony, the door explodes behind him, but he doesn't look at it because he's a cool guy, and he grabs the rope and goes over the balcony and swings and smashes through into the room below where the kids are playing the Hitman video game on the TV. Because, sure, why not put an advertisement for your product in the film that is itself literally an advertisement for your product. It's really
fucking good as well, because like it's the framing of it is so fucking good, and that he rolls into the room and looks at the two people who are there, and they do the whole, it's like, you know, like late 90s early it's fucking 2007, Christ, but it's got the air of that kind of late 90s early 2000s video game advert where the two gawk faced fucking losers just slowly turn round to look at the person who just burst into the room amidst a fucking explosion and broken glass, and then as he walks past them inexplicably, leaving witnesses, they just slowly turn back together to look at the screen, and then when it goes to show you the screen, they put zero effort into making it fucking like seeable, so it's all washed out as fuck. It's terrible looking.
This is approximating what a Hitman video game could look like.
No, I think they actually just put Hitman video game on the TV in the shot and didn't give any thoughts about
it's very early film. YouTube streaming where literally people would just point a camera at their screen and then record. Like it's like dog shit Let's Play from the earliest days of like the SA subforum.
Yep. No, that's basically it.
But then he shoots like 100 fucking cops and jumps into a river.
Yeah, run, bang, bang.
We need to point out this is the arrival of like important fucking like guy you recognize, and it's the pedo from the first season. Well, I don't know if he was in subsequent seasons, but Prison Break.
He's in many seasons, and I don't want to talk about that because I'll get very sad.
I stopped watching Prison Break. I stopped watching Prison Break at the end of the first season when their like super elaborate, clever plan devolved to just pull a knife on the warden. Because it's like, I feel like your prison, like if you're building a prison, you should maybe go, what if someone pulls a knife on the warden? How could they escape then? And maybe design around that. You know, it seems like maybe your writers are just shit if that's the best they can fucking come up with in a show about a clever plan to get out of a prison. Is what if we pulled a knife?
Hitman Prison Break going strong.
But anyway, I digress.
Yes. No, so like we also get the subplot of here's the Interpol agent is coming to try and capture him, but the Russian FSB go in first, and clearly Russian FSB officer is bad guy, and Scottish.
You can tell he's bad guy because of the fucking terrible accent.
Yeah. Oh, the fucking Russian accents. You could just hire one Russian. Do you know what I mean? If a large part of your film is set in Russia, just hire a Russian. You know?
Do you know what fucks me off the most is they speak Russian to each other, but then sometimes they speak English to each other in the terrible, interminable fucking English-Russian accent.
Yeah.
For some reason, just speak to each other in Russian and subtitle it. You've already done this in the film.
They're doing that thing with the accents where like if you just heard like a random sample of it, you couldn't like place the country, so they just have them say tovarish every like fucking at the end of every sentence.
They also have that bit with the fucking people waving around a Russian Federation flag, so you know it's definitely not the Soviet Union.
Yeah, well, it's like it's the only film that's ever really done the like accents versus like native language thing properly is Hunt for Red October.
Yes,
where they start with them all speak. They start with them all speaking in Russian.
Yeah, they're trying to do that, but they do it like 9 fucking times throughout the film, as if they need to re-establish it every scene.
Yeah. Anyway, so we get introduced to them. The Interpol agent's like, "Oh, I have jurisdiction." The FSB guy's like, "Well, actually, I have jurisdiction, and you are not welcome."
we love to have an entire film about Interpol jurisdiction.
Yeah. I actually went and looked up what Interpol's jurisdiction was in Russia.
Does it not have any? Just assuming.
No, it did. It did actually have offices in Russia. I don't know if they're current or not with everything that's going on, but certainly back in the 90s and the 2000s, they certainly had offices, and yes, they did have jurisdiction. So
I'll probably forget to mention this later on, but there's a really fun part about like where someone mentions that the EU is in Russia's pocket basically on something, and I just thought that was very funny and very of the time considering.
That's when Doug Ray Scott's boss comes in to tell him to drop the case. Yeah. Or the mayor's going to have his badge or some shit.
That kind of vibe. Anyway, so he gets out essentially. And he intercepts the woman who was meant to kill, who's named Nika, who is Belikov's mistress. Well, we say Belikov's mistress, it's implied that actually she's a sex worker who he's just got on retainer.
This, by the way, it is at this point, if I may just jump in, where both films, I think, to put it charitably, have something of a problem with women, but this fucking thing is, like, incredible. Like...
Well, would it shock you, Rob, to know that both films are written by the same person? And I've done a little research about them just to kind of like we will come to talk about Skip Woods. Yes, that's his name.
You should never skip the woods.
No, I feel like this guy wandered into the woods and never came out again.
The haircut of this guy on Wikipedia.
Oh
is
yeah,
incredible.
it's fantastic. I'm about to link it in the channel, so for the benefit of again doing
Christ.
That visual medium thing again, here is Skip Woods, everyone.
He looks like Mickey Rourke playing Kurt Cobain.
But I mean, Nika is played by Olga Kurylenko, who I think most people will know. She was a Bond girl in, I can't remember which one. Quantum of Solace.
Yeah, she's a good actress. Credit's due. She's very good at what she does.
She's a fine actress, and she does, I think, a passable job with like the dog shit fucking role she's given. But like, all women in this film are objects to either wear no clothes or soon to wear no clothes, and to just act as like what I imagine what the scriptwriter or the director or whoever, like whatever unholy people were involved with this fucking production, think that like this is what the audience of a Hitman movie wants to see, and it is genuinely fucking disturbing. Like, it's really fucked up.
They addressed that in the second film by giving you a woman who has a constant migraine. So, who are you to disparage the outlook of these films on women?
Yeah, the women in these films are basically set dressing and plot devices. That's basically it, right? And I will credit to the actress playing Nika. She absolutely she's the only one who isn't filming it in this film, as far as I'm concerned. And it still is terrible just because she's got nothing good to work with. But like, my God, she tried to polish the turd as hard and well as she could.
Timothy Oliphant's doing that thing that Timothy Oliphant does in everything before Justified, where he just looks mad at the director. Do you know what I mean? Just every scene, you just get the idea that words were exchanged immediately before someone shouted like fucking action.
No, like he was
because he's the same in Die Hard 4, which is another film where they just waste him entirely. He just looks furious.
He was good in Deadwood though, so it's like I just genuinely think he didn't want to be in this film. There's
that's the thing. Like he's good in Deadwood. He was in like a couple of things before that. Was it Go?
Oh, I can't remember.
Like fucking Tarantino style thing with a bunch of different stories intersecting, and it's like some people are on drugs, and then like he's like a fucking drug dealer or something that's trying to kill someone. Anyway, it was the 90s, you know what I mean? Everyone was doing that. There was probably someone from Dawson's Creek in it or something.
Probably.
He's good in Deadwood, and then he's like in a bunch of films where they just like they obviously just give him some shit, and he's like, well, I'm not happy with this. I'm going to look actively not happy with it throughout every fucking scene. And then like the Justified people will go like, right, what if we just like, it's a safe bet, we just get him to do the guy from Deadwood again, but like with a more modern hat.
No, they didn't. I mean, totally different character. Like, here's the thing. When I first watched Deadwood, I thought all the performances were stellar, apart from Oliphant's, because I thought it was pretty wooden and stuff. And it wasn't until I saw Justified I went, oh shit, that's just who the character is. And then I rewatched Deadwood and enjoyed it far much, more, because I realised, oh no, this is how the character is meant to be. It's not just him being stiffly acted. He is just this stiff. So it's like, he's got range. I just
right. Shall we keep moseying on, because otherwise we have a whole other movie to talk about, and this is.
Yeah, all right, okay. So, right, so he intercepts her, and he interrogates her and discovers that Belikov had a double, and the double is the one who ordered the hit on the real Belikov in order to take his place as the president of Russia.
Oh, is that what it was? Because I did not fucking understand that at all.
That did not register upon first viewing.
I thought that there were clones. I thought that the Russian president had clones. I was so fucking confused.
The Russian president had some doubles, and one of the doubles basically got in bed with the FSB chief guy who we saw previously, and basically said, how about I run Russia? And he went, aye, okay. And then said, right, I need you to take out the real Belikov and all of his other doubles so that I can then assume power. What's that? DNA testing? Never heard of it. Anyway, so the organization basically is meant to be like neutral. They like sell their assassins to anyone. They're hoping to get influence with the new Russian government, and so they ordered 47 to kill Nika and set him up to be erased to cover their tracks. So there's the plot of the film. How are they going to get out of this jam?
Well, because the other agent they sent to kill him is about 100 years old.
Well,
that's how he gets out of that jam. He's being pursued by Agent 74.
Yeah. What then proceeds is we have another fucking fight sequence on a train when Nika and 47 are attacked by more organization agents. They send like 4 baldies to take out Agent 47.
It's such a bizarre scene because like
is this when he fight with the samurai swords?
He kneecaps the old guy, like his fucking dad gets kneecapped, and then he runs off to like fucking chase someone, and he fights like 3 other fucking like
4. No, it is 3. Sorry, you're right.
Yeah, he fights 3 others, but the impression you get is that like they're all fighting, like, you know what I mean? The way they all turn up pointing guns at each other, it's like, okay, so what? There's 4 of them all turned up independently, and
they're all angry with each other. This is what I thought.
Yeah. It's like fucking. You just think it's like bald Highlander or something.
Yeah.
later on, he's just fighting all four of them. So
I can explain this after we're done with this recap. By the way,
is it because John Woo filmed does a lot of people pointing two guns at each other, and the director thought that looked cool?
Oh my god, fucking what's his face? Skip Woods loves the fucking two guns, one gun in each hand, pointing in separate directions.
The Mexican standoff thing, yeah.
Well, that's Xavier Jens likes that, and we'll come back to Xavier as well.
He'd like another not to name. An executive producer of the first film was Vin Diesel, so...
Was he?
Yes, it came up in the credits. I took a picture of it to send to Jamie.
Wow.
I was that amazed by the idea of Vin Diesel being an executive producer on this. It all made a lot more sense at the end.
I mean, I imagine they probably had Vin Diesel in mind at some point, and then he couldn't do it.
He left at some point in production, I think.
Yeah.
Or before production, actually.
So anyway, they get into a Mexican standoff, and Raylan basically goes, "Well, if I'm gonna die, can I go out like with honor?"
He asks them, "Wouldn't you rather die with some dignity?" And then they all like fucking drop the magazines out of their guns,
but they don't
remove the round from the chamber.
Yeah, I noticed that as well.
Yeah, they do this whole thing where they all kind of they look at each other and each of them nods in turn. Then they drop their guns and all of them draw twin wakizashis. Like what? It's just like out of nowhere.
This whole bit where like they're having the fight on the train, and then he kicks the last guy out the window and fights him under the train. On like because the train, it's like a service yard, isn't it? And you can get underneath the train like in a fucking pit to like fasten the fucking wheels on or some shit, whatever it is you do with a train. And like that whole scene, there's some actual fucking like ambition there. It is very like you could, if they had people like actors that could actually fight and a director that wasn't a fucking idiot, you could actually maybe see that scene being in like a good martial arts film. But it's just constantly like lots of jump cuts because no one can actually throw a punch or swing a sword. Cuts. And like every time like fucking Agent 47 does anything remotely acrobatic, it's the back of his head you see.
Yeah. I will also add those fucking swords that they all pull out look like they're made out of the same fucking material that you'd like wrap your dinner in. It's like the chintziest fucking metal that you've ever seen. Like
it's Mole Ninja, it's Mole Hitman, basically.
Yes, exactly.
You know,
it's also a dog shit fight scene because like they're just like waving the swords at each other at considerable distances, and there's like the risk factor is just absolutely zero.
Well, like I say, it's that Hollywood thing where you watch like someone who's actually good at fucking action, like you watch Jackie Chan or someone. Like do a bunch of like fucking incredible shit with like some really original fucking ideas and all this sort of stuff, and you just go, well, we can copy that, and you just think that like having it in the same setting with the same number of participants is all it needs, and it's like, no, you go, oh well, none of the people involved can fight, so should we just cut really quickly so you can't tell they can't fight? And it's like, yeah, the thing is though, people are watching that, and the reason it's so good is because you get to see how like Jackie Chan can fight. You know what I mean? Like. Jackie Chan films wouldn't be anywhere near as good if it cut to a reverse shot every time he punched someone.
I think a large part of what made Justified work so well was anytime Raylan Givens got into a fight, he just got the shit kicked out of him, and Timothy Oliphant knows how to act that. But for this, no, he can't throw a punch.
Not playing to his strengths, this film.
No, it's really not. For one, they made him get rid of all of his hair, and that's like, what are you doing, mate? Anyway, so They have a fight on a train. Sure, why not?
This is where they hide the body, a body in a box as well.
Yeah.
For those following along at home.
Or all of them. He hides like 4 bodies and like all the guns and leftover swords in there, essentially.
Yeah, basically, checkmark. We've met one of our video game nod obligations. So anyway,
gamers stay seated.
At this point, the fucking Interpol guy shows up, attempts to arrest 47. He's easily overpowered, aka shot in his bulletproof vest. Nika has caught back up with 47 at this point and persuades him to let the Interpol agent go free. And then the Interpol agent is forced to leave Russia by the corrupt FSB officer.
It's so funny. He keeps going, but I'm Interpol, don't you know? And I'm like,
that part,
my guy.
That part at least had some, like I could see an Interpol agent being that whiny about it, frankly. Anyway, 47 contacts a CIA agent who's an associate, offers him a deal. He will kill the president's younger brother, who's a wealthy arms dealer and human trafficker.
Do you know what? This part of the film, I must have blacked out or something, because I do not remember this bit at all.
No, it's set up for a fight and nothing else. Basically, like, he goes, right, will you do me a favour? CIA goes, well, I'll do you a favour, but what are you giving me in return? He goes, I'll kill the Russian president's younger brother, who's a wealthy arms dealer and human trafficker. No politics in this film. In exchange for a favour. So
what's weird about this, right, is like Agent Smith is a recurring character in the games. Mm-hmm. But in this, like, you wouldn't know. I don't think it's mentioned in the film. He just introduces himself as Agent Smith, but like in the credits, Smith is his first name for some fucking like inexplicable reason, and I was just like, what the fuck?
Smith, Agent.
Yeah, he's credited as Smith Jameson. It's just fucking baffling, like.
Which was this the bit where they spend a bunch of time? The fucking Interpol guys spend a bunch of time bugging the FSB.
Yeah.
The bit that annoyed me about this is where all the fucking FSB agents are referring to each other as comrade in 2007 in the Russian Federation. Yeah. What the fuck? What? So desperate.
Anyway, Smith tells 47 that the guy he's going to take out for him has been planning something with a German gun runner named Price. So, Price is in Istanbul. So 47...
No, not Istanbul. Istanbul. For some reason, there's an M in there. For some fucking reason.
Istanbul. Okay. So, 47 and Nika travel to Istanbul. They abduct Price, and then 47 poses him to get to a club. I'm skipping over a whole thing where inexplicably Nika makes a tremendous pass at 47 repeatedly, including some pretty gross shots of her just being topless for no reason.
Yeah, this is talking about
that fucking
this is to
scene
illustrate.
Yeah.
This is to illustrate how neurodivergent like 47 is, because he just like injects her with the fucking like knockout drug. To make her stop like making him uncomfortable by trying to like fucking shag him.
Yeah, like there's this whole thing where they comment multiple times about how she's not wearing underwear, and she gets on top of him and takes her top down and starts unbuckling his pants, and he just fucking knockout jabs her.
The restaurant scene where she's testing his memory includes the obligatory like 2000s transphobia.
Oh shit! I blocked out my head.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. She does this whole thing of like asking him about things around the room that he can't obviously see, but he will have seen on the way in. And he's like naming everything, like, oh yeah, they're having this to eat. He's wearing that. And she goes, what about the woman that's 2 tables behind you? You know, what colour's her? And he goes, it's not a woman. And it cuts to, oh, it's a trans person. So of course, Anyway, wonderful. So we're just getting.
Let's do Austin Powers without the attempted humour.
Yeah, I know, right?
Just why fucking even bother? Like, it would be so much easier for films to just have made in the 2000s watermarked over them than to include these fucking scenes.
Oh, Christ. So anyway, basically, they, he goes to a club where that the president's son owns. And the president's son is selling guns while surrounded by...
Son.
Oh, brother, sure, whatever, younger brother. Like, again, doesn't matter.
It's the Penny's boat guy from Lost.
Oh, shit, it is too. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
This is just a fucking... It's a who's who of, like, 2000s TV. And
so,
I say 2000s TV, I'm pretty sure the guy that plays Agent Smith was in Game of Thrones in the 2010s as well, so... You might be that fucking... I think you might be the dipshit from Moonfall's dad in Game of Thrones.
Feel free to watch.
That's too many layers deep of reference.
Yeah, I can't deal with this. Like, this is...
You at home, feel free to watch and then don't write in and tell us at Dr. Knifegun MD about it. Yeah. Anyway.
Feel free.
So they, he goes to this club where the guy is doing an arms deal while surrounded by sex workers who are strongly implied to be trafficked, like enslaved.
Once again, topless for no reason. The treatment of women in this movie continues seamlessly and incredibly grossly in this scene.
Yeah, my favorite thing about the shootout that ensues in this fucking scene is that they clearly filmed it so that like all of the women were just collateral damage, because everyone's just running around spraying fucking like machine gun fire everywhere with like no fucking regard for like who's in the line of fire or anything. But they were obviously told, no, you can't just have like fucking, do you know what I mean? You can't have all these shots of topless women exploding all over your film. Take them out. So they all just sort of vanish.
So wait on that one, Jamie. I've got more for you again when we finish describing this film. So they do this, and basically he kills the dude, which will mean there'll be a funeral for him, and the Russian president will have to attend the funeral, right? And that's the setup on how he draws the Russian president, who's secretly the double, out so that he can actually get a crack at him. Okay?
Yeah, so a thing I want to bring up here is this film influencing the games a little bit. I think thematically, this film was what, like 2008, 2007, something like that?
2007, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hitman Absolution was 2012. And I think theme and mood wise, this film being as fucking like grimy and edgy as it is probably influenced Absolution quite a bit. But that specific plot point about someone being killed in order to lure like a relative to a funeral is actually like a plot point in the 2016 reboot for one of the. It's not something you yourself like knowingly do, but one of the people you're contracted to kill is actually just like so that his like reclusive billionaire dad will come out to the funeral and someone else can assassinate him. Just an interesting bit of like side trivia there.
Yeah, life imitates art, imitates shite. So, where the fuck were we with the plot anyway? So yeah, no, he kills the guy.
Yeah, he kills the fucking the lad from Lost.
Yeah,
the women mysteriously disappear in a hail of gunfire.
Yeah,
sure. And then he also kidnaps the head of the FSB like dodgy agent guy, and basically he
does a little saw just for fun.
He does, yeah, does a little saw, yeah.
He decides to ask him if he wants to play a game, and that game involves him being tied up in a bathtub with chains with barbed wire in them, and then
hooked
up to a high voltage generator, which will go off at exactly like midday or something like that.
Yeah, it's so fucking stupid, because it's like, all right, okay, like that radio in your hand will turn on like for 30 seconds, and if you don't order them to kill the president, then like after that 30 seconds the fucking generator will turn on and melt you. And it's like, I'm sorry, how's that supposed to be wired up? Because he just leaves. It's not like he stands around to turn the radio on and then electrocute the guy if he doesn't do what he's told. And in fact, the plan largely hinges on like the guy not like being able to fucking like order the hit, or the hit not working, you know? And
yeah,
it's just
But Jamie, don't think about it. He gives him a rubber duck to keep him company that he took from his children's bath, so that the guy knows he can fuck with his children as well.
Yeah, it's just, but like that whole thing where they just go, oh, like, you know, this is how the elaborate death trap will work, and it's like, okay, but how? What mechanism turns on the generator only if the president is dead?
It's the ESP that the woman from the second film has. That's what it is.
I mean, the ESP is a good point, because like this whole film is revealed to have been one long con by the hitman. Because there's a bit we skipped over where like fucking Doug Ray Scott gets sent like a suitcase full of the hitman's belongings, and there's a fucking ornate key with some Latin on it or something.
Oh, yeah, and it's like a key. I can't be bothered to keep going with this plot, if I'm honest.
But it reveals that like he planned the whole series of events from the very beginning, and it's like,
yeah, he's a super master assassin.
It's just I hate that so much in films where they go, rather than come up with a clever plan that you would actually like go, holy shit, that was quite clever. They just come up with some convoluted bullshit and just go, this guy planned it all from the start. And it's like, okay, but he doesn't seem clever. He seems like the writer is an idiot, which is not the same thing.
Goldberg machine all along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Essentially what happens is the brother is dead, so there's a funeral service where the president, who is not the president, but the double who is taken over with the help of the evil guy from Prison Break, and they're all there, and then the evil guy from Prison Break, who's now in the bathtub with the rubber ducky from the Saw franchise.
And no one questions where he is either. They just, a general comes in to replace him. A general who is is Lance Boyle from Mega Race, if anyone had that game on CD-ROM in the 90s.
Jesus fucking Christ.
I do want to also add on the because this guy's the double or whatever. Like, they explain the way that they imitate the face of a person on another person by adding in little metal plates or something.
Yeah, it was like my face is stuck full of metal plates and it's in pain, and I'm just like, I don't really care anymore. So Robert Knapper, the guy from Prison Break, orders one of his guys to shoot the president, who's not the president, and that of course fails, and then the president gets taken into the room where the Archbishop lives, and it's essentially like a double secret trap, because that means the real Hitman Agent 47 Raylan is dressed in a big Special Forces
Ninja
outfit.
Turtle costume,
a complete Ninja Turtle outfit. It looks fucking stupid as all get out.
Imagine if you only had 4 polygons in real life.
And then there's a big sort of showy-offy thing, and then what's his face? The double who's not the president, but who's still the president, gets shot by Raylan, after which a helicopter turns off, and it all gets very fucking stupid.
Yeah, and the thing is, the core plot beat that they kind of went for here is, what we do is we make an attempt on the president's life, but then you wait for them in the safe room and take them out there, putting them right into your crosshairs. It's like, okay, that's a decent plot beat, but the way they do it is the most ham-fisted, ass-backwards kind of...
It's the same plot as Homeland has, by the way, which is not a compliment.
Yeah, but my favorite thing about the events there is that the Russians gas all of the civilians in the church, because that's how the Russians roll, baby. That's their idea. What if any trouble happens? We'll just gas every cunt. It'll be fine.
Well, when you got a canister, everything starts looking like a civilian.
And then like I say, Lance Boyle from Mega Race drops his Russian accent after one scene as well. Which
he does. I was like, is this motherfucker meant to be American? What is going on here?
Yeah, he does it for his introductory scene. He's doing the fucking Russian accent, and then after that, he's just like, no, fuck this.
It's like a reverse fucking Viggo Mortensen in Lord of the Rings.
He's absolutely the worst of all of the ADR as well. 100% no effort fucking put in it.
So
this Timothy Oliphant was pretty bad. Jesus Christ, I swear 90% of his lines were
so anyway, to hurtle us towards the end of this fucking film, he gets arrested by the Russians, but Interpol turn up and go, we've got fucking jurisdiction here, and they take him away in their car. Their car is then halted by the CIA, who just cause a diversion so that Hitman can escape. Which is the guy playing Agent Smith there is having fun with that. That's one entertaining part where he pulls them up and he goes oh, we got reports you were terrorists, and they're like, what, are you fucking taking the piss? We're Interpol. We're delivering a suspect, and he's like, what suspect? And he's gone, and then the guy's like, oh, you know what? You're right. I made a mistake. The CIA apologizes and gets back in his car, and it's like, yeah, fair play, mate. You know what I mean? That's a proper fucking quality dick move there.
So we now cut back to the surrounding narrative. Remember that?
Remember the first 5 minutes? Because I sure don't.
Yeah, where he's pointing his gun at the Interpol guy in his home.
And asking him what a good man kills for or some shit.
Yeah, just a forgettable one. Anyway, he reveals the plan, which is there is a dead agent on the floor who looks like 47, who 47 is clearly brought here and murked earlier. Here's one I killed earlier. And he basically says, right, I've killed him using your gun. Here's your gun. The magazine is in your drawer. Wait until the kids go to school and then call it in, and then you can explain the reason the body's cold is because you waited for the kids to go to school so they wouldn't be traumatized by everything. And he says to the guy, you're going to go along with this. Guy says, well, I shouldn't. And he goes, well, you will. And all right, that's that. And then meanwhile, Nika picks up an envelope that has the deed to a vineyard, because previously in the film she said it was her dream to own a vineyard. And then from afar, Agent 47 is watching her through the scope of a rifle, having murdered another agent who was going to kill her, and he makes some wisecrack about how he'd warned the organization not to touch her, and that's the end of the film.
Yeah.
That's
Roll
it.
credits.
Mm-hmm. Executive producer Vin Diesel.
I fucking look. I was so fucking tired of this movie. I swear, the only reason I made it through it is I was sitting on the couch, and halfway through, the dog decided to like jump in my lap and have a sleep. And like,
this is true.
I can't wake up the dog.
We have photographic evidence of this.
So like, that's the reason I sat through this fucking film. And I hated it.
It was
goodbye dog.
It was fucking terrible.
But my dog is awesome.
Should we do the worst one now?
Well, hold on. I promised you a little bit of drama. So basically Xavier Gens filmed this, right? But as it turns out, reports came in that 20th Century Fox actually turned down the version of the film that Gens submitted to them, and then Nicholas de Toth was brought in to edit the movie for commercial purposes.
Not a name. It
is Nicholas de Toth.
No, it isn't. That's
T-O-T-H.
Sorry, that's a character from like Warhammer Fantasy.
Nope. And Fox...
Yeah, and he fucking cut this movie, damn it.
Yeah. And Fox ordered a bunch of reshoots. And Fox have denied claims that Xavier Gens had been fired due to the extreme violence of his cut and insisted that he was still on the project. But others reported that Gens wasn't even in the country when the reshoots were being done. So basically what happened is this guy turned in a cut of the film which was so bad and so gratuitously violent that 20th Century Fox went, we can't fucking use this. And so, Jamie, when you were saying that those women were clearly being gunned down in the club earlier, you're absolutely right. That almost certainly happened. And 20th Century Fox went, this is dog shit, and it's got extreme violence. It's going to get this like unrated. So they basically chopped the movie to pieces and back. And that's also why there's so much ADR dub as well. It's really bad.
On the other hand, James, my favourite bit of the Wikipedia article is the bit in the critical response section, which reads, despite Hitman's negative reception, Slovenian philosopher and film theorist Slavoj Žižek included the film in his personal list of 10 greatest films in a 2012 poll. Commenting on his picks, he said the list contains only guilty pleasures and he made no compromises for high quality or good taste.
So who can say?
Oh, incredible.
All right,
good or bad film, it doesn't matter.
Let us turn now to a fucking... If you thought this was bad...
Yeah. So clearly, like, 20th Century Fox took a long, hard look at this and went, well, it's a stinker. We fix it with some edits. And clearly the director was a problem there. So no more Xavier, he's done. But Skip Woods, the writer from the first one, he was pretty good. We'll give him another crack. And this again proved to be a terrible mistake. So the second film is a reboot called Hitman Agent 47, and it opens. You're like, how can we do even worse than like a bookend? Setting the scene like flash forward, flashback sort of thing.
Yeah.
Instead, it starts with a fucking voiceover.
Interminable fucking narration.
Yeah.
Although it does, I can't remember the line exactly anymore because, quite frankly, my brain has not that much bandwidth to like for this shit. But they do at some point genuinely use the line, what if we made a better human? Well, they did.
There's got to be a better way.
Yeah.
So
some old woman like trying to push a bunch of Agent 46s back into a cupboard.
So it opens with, again, like... shots of like kids and tattoos and various other things. But it basically, to summarize, 47 is an agent, a genetically enhanced super soldier created by Dr. Peter Livenko.
They've invented a slightly less bald man.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that. A skilled Ukrainian geneticist. Litvenko, unable to bear the guilt of his creation, abandoned the agent project. 47 works as a hitman for the International Contracts Agency and has spent the last few years tracking down Litvenko's daughter, Katia. He gets a lead from mercenaries led by Del Riego, who has been trying to find Litvenko in order to recreate the agent program for their own means.
Right, so it's already convoluted and stupid for like no good reason whatsoever. And I hate it. I hate it. I just...
Yeah, Rupert Friend is shit and didn't even go bald.
No, he didn't. He's just got a shaved head with stubble. Like, it's really bad.
Yeah, at least fucking shave that shit when you're going to do a take. Jesus Christ.
He looks essentially like what if Sam the Eagle from the Muppets went on a really serious diet?
Yeah. The thing is, they didn't even bother to put they shaved it down, but then didn't bother to put a bald cap on him, and it's just very strange. Anyway,
it's really annoying. It's a haircut. It's a hairstyle I like to refer to as the Rat Boy.
Yeah.
If you ever knew a kid that fucking went joyriding in the 90s, that's the haircut they had.
Yep. No notes. So, anyway, Katia's living in Berlin under the shooting name of Van Dees, and she's been working tirelessly to find an unknown man, spoiler, it's her father, and is plagued by overwhelming anxiety and a superhuman awareness of everything around her. Oh,
yeah,
boy.
I mean, this film is essentially just a list of scenes from better films.
Yes,
and that's why I hate it so much.
A low bar to clear, admittedly, but it's just ideas from other films, but done worse. So her
suck Van D's nuts.
Yeah. Her having the fucking super sensors and then taking the anti-anxiety medication that numbs her unknown superpowers is just the fucking plot of Wanted.
Yeah.
Except there's no loom to ask anyone about, so clearly
it's just come to me now. It's just come to me now. They've invented a woman with autism. This is all they've done.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's long been commented on that Agent 47 is coded as autistic in the games because he speaks with very little emotion and is good at everything he tries to do, which famously is a thing with autistic people. They're just great at everything, you know. My life is just a masterwork. I've never done anything wrong ever.
Well, you are quite good at Hitman though, so.
Well, yeah, that's true. But
it's just you've been applying your skills in the wrong direction.
I should stop taking the medication. Clearly, it's holding me back.
Yeah, we should stop taking the medication. We should set a pack of guns on you, and you'll suddenly discover yourself.
No, Jamie, what you need to do is you stop taking medication that you steal out of random people's bags.
Yeah. Also, in terms of speaking of
Don't judge my
weekends. Speaking of reminding you of better movies, the whole thing being set in, it's partially set in Berlin and then it goes to some tax havens. But the bit in Berlin is also speaking of reminding you of better movies, it's the direction and everything. It looks visually so much like the Bourne Identity in parts, and I'm like, God, I was wish I was watching the Bourne Identity again.
This film legit just straight up rips off scenes from other films. There's a bit, as I was watching this earlier today, I was just typing in the chat to people, and I think I have stuff like The Matrix called, it wants its ideas back. No Country for Old Men called, it wants its ideas back. Watchmen called, it wants its ideas back. Scene for scene, we're not even joking, down to the dialogue being the same in places. There's one bit where he does the whole, I'm not trapped in here with you, you're trapped in here with me, and it's just oh, for fuck's sake,
Yeah, with that guy, when he's been interrogated by a fucking an actor who I'm sure has played a lot of waiters. But the setup for that scene is that he's being interrogated by this guy at the embassy you try to bring into, and the guy brings in a fucking 47 sniper rifle and loads it on the table,
and also his guns and knives, just.
Yeah, let's bring in the armaments you had to put them on the table as evidence to intimidate you with. Yeah, that's just really stupid stuff. Yeah. But anyway, we're jumping ahead of ourselves. Long story short, Katia, the way the setup to this film goes is Katia is approached at a subway station by a guy calling himself John Smith, and he tells her that, listen, there's an assassin called 47 on his way to kill her. I'm going to protect you, and I think I know who you're searching for. So 47 shows up and starts attacking them, and you're like, oh, wow, twist of this film, 47's the bad guy. And I will admit, for half a second, I was like, well, that could be interesting, but no.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, a theme is that this, you get people in it and you go, surely you're better than this, mate. Because the John Smith is played by Spock from the fucking
by
Zachary
Quinto.
Zachary Quinto,
Yeah, it was a talent in, and it possibly one of my favorite movies of all time. So I was so fucking disappointed with this shit. Incredible. Just
I had no idea anyone had actually gone to bat for Star Trek Into Darkness.
No. Margin Call. Go watch Margin Call in 2011. It's a fucking great movie. It's finance shenanigans. It's great.
Yeah.
Go watch
I mean,
that.
of course it is.
Fucking dross.
It's your favorite film of all time. It's obviously going to be about a finance event, isn't it?
Yeah.
You just need to get Rob in front of a how to Excel YouTube video.
Just turn off this fucking podcast and go watch Margin Call. Like, do yourself a fucking favor, because I hate it.
Yeah.
Just ignore the fact
don't
that
listen to
Kevin
these
Spacey's
fucking
in it.
idiots.
Like, Kevin Spacey being in it is
Yeah, that's
for
a bit
one
of a
blemish
problem,
that
I
makes
will
it
admit.
perfect.
He also has the most dog shit role, but that's it.
Anyway,
We'll watch Margin Call another time.
Oh, is that right? So Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, Margin Call. We're slowly learning all the hits. Anyway,
Now
so
we're back to the Hitman.
Yeah. So they get away from 47. They go to her hotel room she's holed up in. She shows the guy all of her, like, red string on a corkboard. I'm tracking this person.
Oh my god, this bit was so fucking pointless.
Yeah, it was.
Tedious.
And the guy's like urging her to tell him where this guy is. And at this point, 47 shows up, shoots the guy dead, and knocks her unconscious and takes her captive. Right? Yeah. So you're like, oh, he's not there to kill her. Interesting. I wonder where this is going.
Where it's going is like the weirdest fucking like bondage scene ever put to cinema, I think.
I genuinely, when watching this,
Is there a category on FetLife for jet engines?
Yeah. So he wakes her up, has a whole conversation with her about how she's the daughter of this dude who made him, etc., 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 and then basically, like, they're going to find him together because he needs to protect him, because that guy, John Smith, was working for an organization called Syndicate International, and they want to restart the agent program. And so they need to find her father before they do, essentially. All right, okay, we got it. And then she's like, all right, well, on time. And he goes, no.
is a race to find Kieran Hines, and then subsequently to find whatever country his accent is from.
Yeah. Only Kieran Hines knows how to work a test tube.
They also, for this, this bit just made me roll my eyes right out the sockets. He explains that her name, which is Katia Van Dies, is a homophone for her real name, Quatre Vinc Dix. I'm pronouncing it wrong. Someone.
Quatre Van Dies, Jesus.
Quatre Van Dies, sure. I didn't do French, all right? I did Spanish.
You don't say. This is
Vinct! This motherfucker just said
Quatre
Vinct.
Vinc Dix.
Ah, well. Kestlevi.
Well, you can all suck on my Quatre Vinc Dix as far as I'm concerned. Anyway.
Fucking hell, right.
Anyway, so it turns out that, which I can't pronounce in French, is French for 90, implying that she's part of the same series that he himself was made from.
Also, a very subtle burn on the French method of doing numbers, which sucks dick.
Yeah, it does, actually, yes.
Anyway, so she's like, okay, right, well, I'm in untie me, and he goes, well, untie yourself, walks a few steps away in the darkness, and turns on the massive fucking turbine jet engine that she's, like, tied to a chair in front of, and tells her to untie herself and walks off as the jet engine's, like, spooling up.
Yeah, and then she goes, like, into, like, precog mode. I don't know what to call it.
She goes precog and then does Lara Croft
mode.
Yeah, she does precog and then does Lara Croft aerobatics to get the fuck out of the chair. And
she does essentially precog and then postcog.
It's the fucking
post-cog clarity.
BBC Sherlock Mind Palace thing where she just like freezes and like fucking. It's meant like in that instance, it's meant to be her thinking about what to do. You know, like fucking like actually like the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes. Now that I think about it. But then in other instances, it's meant to be her, like when she suddenly realizes some guys are about to burst into the room, it's meant to be her hearing them outside, but they illustrate it in the worst possible way they could, and so it just looks like she's actually psychic. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I thought she was psychic.
Well, that's what I mean. It's terrible direction.
Yep. So she gets out the chair and goes off to find 47. Turns out there's like a platoon of guys showing up to catch them. And she's like, we should run. And he's like, no, we will stand and fight and you will activate your training, right?
Yeah,
this whole scene is basically her...
They explain, like fucking, like Spock explains earlier, that her dad genetically programmed her to be good at survival, and that's why she never shows up on CCTV.
It's so stupid.
She's just got one of those faces that cameras can't recognise.
Just hire an adult to write your films. That's all I'm asking, you know? Like, stop giving it to the same 12-year-old boy that writes the Resident Evil films.
Listen,
It's a miracle that they keep that 12-year-old boy 12 years old, to be honest.
Listen, Skippy is a perfectly adult writer. How dare you?
With that haircut.
Anyway, so these guys show up, and she's talking to 47, going, okay, there's going to be two of them here, and basically does the I innately know tactics bullshit with him, which is all foiled when, oh my god, Smith is still alive, the guy from earlier.
Because he's got metal boobs.
Yeah, he's got surgically implanted subdermal body armor.
Oh, no, it's stupider.
No,
it's stupider than that.
So
it was
stupider.
subdermal liquid titanium, I think. And I was like, liquid titanium? Excuse me?
It's literally the Wolverine thing where they've just dipped him in pig iron or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, we dipped him in a liquid, red hot vat of molten metal, and he just came out stronger somehow.
He's literally bulletproof. He's impervious to gunshots.
It's so good. So he beats up Agent 47, who does his best, but fucking Zachary Quinto's robot tits are just too powerful.
By big metal honkers, yeah.
Yeah, and then
point...
the woman shoots the window in front of the jet engine, right? And you have what is always, anytime it comes up, which is a surprising amount of times, but whenever it comes up in a film, I always fucking do a little cheer. Someone goes, "You missed," and then someone else goes, "They didn't miss," because then the window explodes and all the fucking soldiers get sucked into the jet engine,
which is still running.
Incredible. If you're ever writing a script and you include lines where someone goes, "You missed," and someone else goes, "No, I didn't,"
retire and live a long, peaceful life.
Bequeath the script to someone else in your will, and maybe they'll do a better job.
It's dog shit. Anyway, so they escape. And Katia makes 47 promise that he won't harm her father, and finally reveals that he's in Singapore because we've got
no. Before we do this, this is where the movie took a very strange turn, which I almost appreciated because it actually turns into a dialogue essentially between various strands of Catholicism, namely Calvinism, as to whether or not predestination exists and whether or not you can actually work against your fate and make choices, or whether or not things are set in stone for life. And that's a very interesting. I can't even finish this joke. It's a predestination joke. Just become a Calvinist. Go watch Margin.
You heard it here first. This film is so bad that it's killed Rob's ability to make jokes.
I mean, it was never that big to begin with, but,
So, they go to Singapore. Whether they go there as Catholics or Calvinists, I leave as an exercise for the audience. They track down her dad, who apologizes for abandoning her, saying that he only wanted to keep her safe, and refers to 47 as her brother. Oh, he's from the same genetic line, blah, 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 blah. Who gives a shit?
Have we already passed the embassy scene, or is that in Singapore? Because I've already forgotten this.
No, the embassy scene was before she teamed up with 47.
Yeah.
Well, with the gun.
Nobody cares. There's an embassy scene. Don't worry about it. Also, there's a great line in here, by the way, because somewhere in between them arriving in Singapore, honestly, this plot is not important. And they say that her father, Kieran Hines, has lung cancer, so he should have died a while ago, but he isn't dead. And the reason why, as given as a brief explanation, because I wrote it in a DM to Jamie, is that he's still alive because right now he's doing nanoparticle inhalation therapy.
Yeah.
For fuck's sake.
Yeah, and it's totally it's incredible that, because it's he's got to keep using this inhaler or he'll die, and then it's on the way to fucking meet him, 47 swaps pickpockets a fucking inhaler off a kid in a lift.
No, he doesn't pickpocket. He trades the kid his knife for the inhaler.
The knife of Katia, which he had given the knife to about 30 seconds prior.
Yeah, he pickpockets the knife off her, but it's implied that he the kid's shown playing with the knife, but I thought the implication was that he just swiped the thing and replaced it with the knife, rather than actually turned around in front of the kid's parents and go, "Do you want to swap this knife for that inhaler?"
Fair enough.
But yeah, so he's just got a child's asthma inhaler, which apparently also works for lung cancer.
Lung cancer, yeah.
Yeah, and then at the end is shown to be an explosive device triggered by the same method that you use to take an inhalation from it. Do you know what I mean? It's okay, well, how did he switch it from inhaler mode to bomb mode?
That's a fucking Johnny English bit, isn't it? With the fucking pen that just shoots if you click it twice.
I think the implication is when he heard that, he's like, well, I need to assassinate him later. Here's how I'll do it. I'll take this inhaler, I'll rig it as an explosive, and I'll swap it for his actual inhaler because reasons.
Yeah, but he's never shown to tell the guy that it's now a bomb.
No, it just is.
Some of the ESP from the woman. That's fine. That'll do.
I mean, I don't know what to say here, Jamie. You're treating this like this is a well-written film.
Well, I mean, that's
sense.
the thing, though. Like every like the three of them all seem to have like this sort of like psychic fucking knowledge of each other's actions, but then she doesn't know that her dad's going to blow himself up at the end of the film.
Yeah, but see, this is really like a sort of core conflict in the philosophy of the movie, because like if she can predict the future, which she can. You know, because like she has the precog thing going on where she knows where the bad guys are going to be in at any given second, and I think the ability to spend space time by may have started hallucinating at this point in the plot. But on the other hand, they keep talking about how your actions define who you are and not who you are. So like the fact that she could see the future is a confirmation of predestination, whereas their actions say that it isn't. So, quite frankly, this whole movie is not resolved. I don't know why I'm here anymore. I'm really tired.
Yeah. Anyway, they escape with a dad in a fucking sports car, which then I genuinely can't remember. This came out in like, was it 2015? Was that before or after whichever Fast and Furious film it is, where they all shoot harpoons at Vin Diesel's car because he's turned evil?
I cannot remember that either, and I should remember that because I like those movies because they're very fucking stupid. But yeah,
because it's basically the same.
Oh, you're right. Now they like fish hook him in the car in like a square in Tax Havenville, and then all like there's like all these little dudes who like come zip wiring down.
They all shoot harpoons into the car to like pin it in the center of a fucking crossroads. Then they all like abseil down the lines they've just shot at the car, and he just gets out and just shoots everyone as they're sliding towards him.
Yeah, he gets out and enters the quick time event and immediately starts putting on the left trigger, right trigger repeatedly.
Yeah,
I don't know where exactly this fell in this film, but I've just got a note here that reads Crichton Technologies, which I didn't know Robert Llewellyn was going to make an appearance in this film.
I think we're just referring to the fact that it's like, you know, lots of bald guys essentially.
This film would be dramatically improved with Crichton, to be honest.
Yeah,
Don't know how, but yeah.
They're like they're in the car and they're getting shot with harpoons, and then they escape again, and then like a dad gets shot.
Yeah.
So they have to leave him behind.
Also, it is at this point that like 90 and 47
Don't rub it in, Rob.
Develop. Yeah, I am. Develop like this weird friendship sort of thing, and it's essentially it comes about because he repeatedly psychologically tortures her, so she reveals her like omega level psychic abilities that may or may not have anything to do with predestination, and it's a really cool way to be like, oh, okay, the way to a woman's heart is to just like break her constantly psychologically and threaten her father. It's really good. Like
it's negging. It's fine.
Yeah, it's negging. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, so dad gets taken to like the fucking giant cyberpunk tower where the the head of the fucking syndicate is revealed to never come out of his office.
Yeah, he just shits in the corner.
Yeah, and they
with the world's biggest iPad.
They crack it open and the smell of farts just rolls out through the building.
Spock is having a dad tortured by like injecting him with hot sauce or some fucking shit.
Yeah,
I kid you not. That's basically what they're doing.
It's hot sauce mixed with blue, like fucking
NyQuil.
Blue?
Not Lucozade, the American stuff.
Gatorade.
Oh,
Gatorade. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then a helicopter turns up.
And it's
so incredibly well done because it's like he's talking to the people in the building over their loudspeakers, and they're like, "How did he get into our systems?" And then the helicopter appears outside the window, and fucking Katya's shown to be unconscious in the helicopter, but then minutes later it's revealed that 47 is already inside the building, and she wakes up and flies the helicopter in the window, like that bit in the Matrix where the helicopter crashes into the building. But like. How was the helicopter
crashing
flying?
A helicopter into a building is very much like waking up from the Matrix.
It is, yeah. How is the helicopter flying itself if she's unconscious and 47's in the building already?
There was a little machine that was like remote pilot mode, which I'm sure is very easy with a fucking helicopter.
Yeah, I must have missed that. Curses, they thought of everything.
If only Buddy Holly had had one of those.
Oh, anyway. you've been outdone, Jamie, by a bit of paper that just says, "Don't worry, it's on autopilot mode."
But yeah, and then like they fucking like they have a big fight in the building, and 47 fights Spock in the guy's office, and there's one slightly cool moment where like one of them gets like fucking slammed onto the table, and it turns on. Yeah,
yes.
The rest of it's just shit, though. It's like, okay, the guy's got bulletproof tits, but you standing 3 feet from him, and it was shown earlier that you can like fire a sniper rifle from 2 towns over and graze a woman, deliberately graze a woman's cheek in a moving car. Why can you not hit this guy in the eyeball from like 3 feet away? So in the end, they're having a big fight, and he's losing again. And then he fiber wires the guy and plugs him into the mains so that he gets like electrocuted.
Yeah.
And then goes off to fucking, like, they go to the helipad at the end of the film where they just sort of, like, aimlessly spin around while loads of bullets go off. Like, there's no sense of geography or, like, threat or anything in that scene. It's just people firing
in
guns.
The whole fucking film, one of my notes for this film is conservation of momentum. What's that? Because the number of times, like, there's a bit where they fall onto a moving train, bounce off of it, and immediately hit the ground below, and there's no momentum conservation in it. They don't get any rotational energy from hitting the top of a train. There's another bit where a guy falls off a rail, falls off the top of a building, bounces off a railing, and immediately splats on the floor. And there's no dead cat bounce, nothing. And just throughout the film, the physics are fucked, and everything is just like fucking weightless. There's just nothing really to it.
But this is like they go out onto the helipad as the villain's taken off with her dad, and then like there's like 20 guys there that just all open up with Uzis, and everyone just sort of like runs around, and no one important like gets anywhere near a bullet. And it's like, how is this supposed to be working? You know, they're just they're there and they're in the open. Now they're behind a pillar. There's bullets going off near them. It's just baffling. And then the helicopter explodes because he sets off the bomb in the inhaler. And then
see, this is the bit of the film that the last 4 minutes I didn't get to watch.
Strap in, Alice.
Spoiler alert! Yeah, a dad suicide bombs
a helicopter and nothing else.
And then, like, they mop up the last of the fucking 100 guys on the rooftop, and then another fucking, like, Rupert Friend comes out onto the roof, but his barcode ends in a 48.
Aw, Rupert Friends.
Yeah, his barcode ends in a 48, and that's where they all point guns at each other, and that's the end of the film. And
No,
first
the 48 says Diana says hello, so it turns out that the hitman the Hitman Assassination Agency is the
implication though is that, like, because this guy that's come out is 48, he's one better than like 47, and they're in danger, but they've also got 90 with them, so there's 137 against 48. It's like, do you know what I mean? The numbers just don't add up in that guy's favor at all. But then anyway, then the credits start, and if anyone like persevered 2 minutes into the credits, you get a brief flash of Zachary Quinto waking up because he actually, like, his robot boobs like survived the electrocution, but now, dun dun dun, he's an albino, which, as anyone who's ever seen a Hollywood film knows, is like 50% more evil than another guy. It's just the rules, right? So
it's those red eyes, you can't trust them.
Yeah.
Would you say this is the second or the worst post-credits scene that we've seen?
What's the worst one?
I mean, the one on like fucking Angel Has Fallen was great. So,
no, I think he's talking about the Kingsman, right?
Oh, do you know what? That's just been erased in my memory.
Yeah,
so
I don't remember what the fucking mid-credit scene was on the Kingsman.
The left.
That was
the
left.
that
was the greatest moment in cinematic history.
I'd genuinely forgotten that was mid-credits because I saw that on Twitter before the film. So that was the reason I wanted to watch that film, if anything. You know what I mean?
So, in summary, these films fucking suck. Stop hiring Skip Woods.
Bad.
What else?
Video game films.
Look,
what else has Skip Woods written?
He wrote the A-Team, the 2010 adaptation.
Yeah, well, he did.
That sucks as well.
Actually, I think you'll find they fly a tank in that, so that's actually good.
In 2015, Adrian Ascaria.
Right.
Oh, why is it the names? Told IGN in an interview that he may oversee a film universe with Just Cause, Hitman, Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, and Thief.
Fuck.
Yes. Do it, you fucking coward. Run that shit into the fucking ground.
I love that. I love just Thief casually thrown in amongst all of
wow, it's Ready Player One, but with all of my favourite IPs.
I'm fairly confident that's not happening now, though, because that would be, like, all of those games there were published by Eidos, I believe, before...
Yeah, which doesn't exist anymore.
Before Square Enix bought them out. And I don't think all of those games are even still owned by, like, the same company anymore. So.
No, Square Enix sold them off. So
I've also got further bad news. A sequel to Hitman Agent 47 was planned, but was scrapped in 2019 after Disney's acquisition of 21st Century Fox. Walt Disney maybe not all bad.
Well, unless they let the fucking John Wick dipshits make a TV show.
Well, to tell you what Skip Woods has previously written, by the way, he wrote Thursday, Swordfish, Live Free or Die Hard.
Swordfish, fucking hell. Oh, well, I mean, if you told me these were from the mind of the genius behind Swordfish, that explains fucking everything. If anything, he's getting better with age.
On a fucking future cultural committee, the fucking Swordfish.
He then did, right, get this. So he went Swordfish, Live Free or Die Hard, Hitman, X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Which is terrible.
Wait. He did Die Hard 4 as well.
Yes. Yes, he did the A-Team, then A Good Day to Die Hard.
Die Hard 5.
Then Sabotage, then Hitman Agent 47, and that's the last thing he did was this film.
I fucking love this guy.
Die Hard 4. Fuck's sake.
Oh my god. The A-Team, just saved entirely by the director, then, I can only assume there.
I mean, it must be, surely, because this guy, I mean, it's just everything about this film and the previous one just sucks so badly, and I've not really seen anything in that list of greatest hits there that make me think he's got any, talent as a writer whatsoever. Also, he was uncredited on Live Free or Die Hard, but he did write on it, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fucking terrible film as well. But...
Anyway, in summary, either all of us were already destined to do this movie and watch it and then do this podcast together, or we weren't because our choices determine our actions. And frankly, it's up to you to solve this conundrum and also develop autism and then get superpowers.
Much to think about.
We should finish. Does anyone have any suggestions for who you think could actually make a good Hitman if they were making another film?
As the actor, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant the director.
I mean, you can suggest a director as well if you want, but I was just thinking, which actor would best convey the adventures of fucking Clive Hitman?
In terms of director, I think if you got Pete Travis maybe in to do it.
Who's that?
I think he's a guy who did Dredd.
All right.
Ooh.
Okay, yeah, maybe.
I think in terms of if you want to get a good Hitman, I think I probably got to butcher the pronunciation, but Tatiana Maslany might be a good Hitman. If you shave her head.
Or just in general, or for a film?
I'll just take your pick, honestly.
I really don't know. Just get Carl Urban to do it. I just get fucking the guy for Dredd and just get Carl Urban on and. Yeah.
Yeah, Carl Urban you've got to get rid of all your hair now.
Carl Urban could probably do it justice. I was thinking fucking what's his name, The Witcher?
Robert Cavill.
Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill.
Yeah. I think Henry Cavill could probably do it justice.
That's a good show.
For comedy purposes, you get John Travolta.
You get he's a gamer. He's definitely got the right face and head shape for it. So
Yeah. We need to know about Henry Cavill's brain pan so that we can determine whether it's the right fit.
Everybody get your calipers. We're going on expedition.
No, I've got it. Sorry, I've got it. Just Adrian Edmondson.
Toby Young.
Fuck off. They're just naming bald guys now. Right, let's
Yeah,
fucking
Patrick-
end
yeah,
this piece
I
of
mean,
shit.
it would be a
Patrick Stewart.
fucking improvement. It would be a fucking improvement over this Agent 47 film
For
because they'd be
real?
actually bald.
For real, 20 years ago, Patrick Stewart could have absolutely nailed that shit because he's so good at doing the fucking like stupid shit. When he's been in comedies, he's really, really good.
Yeah,
He is a man. He's a man that would
In a big bunny
absolutely,
suit.
yeah, he would absolutely dress up in like a fucking mascot costume and then fight a bunch of guys if you paid him to.
Get him in that period where he was filming like Star Trek Nemesis and the rest of them, where he wanted to be like the leading man kind of action hero kind of figure, and yeah, he'd definitely do it.
What if we shave Jason Statham?
No. No, I can't stress enough how much Jason Statham is not allowed to be Agent 47.
Actually,
Yeah,
now that you mention it, there's that bit in. I mean, he's fucking great in Spy. If anyone's seen that, and if you haven't, you should watch Spy because it's great. He's really good at the comedy in that. But also, there's a scene in one of the fucking Fast and Furious films where he has to he has to extract a baby from a fucking like plane in flight, and he's like running around with like the baby in a little fucking like cot in one hand and a gun in the other, and he keeps like talking to the baby as he's murdering guys. It's like, it's really good.
It's fucking great. Anyway, I've now foreseen that this is the end of this fucking recording because I can't deal anymore.
Rob's got a migraine that has dictated to him that this is the end.
Actually, it turns out that David's typed me in front of a big jet engine. I have to escape this fucking recording.
Yeah, let's fuck this off. So I hope you all enjoyed this cultural committee where we watch bad films for your amusement. Fuck you if you did enjoy it. And we'll probably do one again soon. Don't know what it's going to be, but stay tuned.
Go watch Margin Call. Bye.
Yeah, go do that. We'll catch you next week.
Yeah, see ya.
Cheerio.
See ya.
Bye.